All right, everybody. Welcome back. Good morning. Another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 89. Christian Brindle here, Glenn Shelton, as always. And it is a Monday post-Easter. Good morning, good sir. Happy post-Easter. Post-Easter. You ever hear Post Malone? I'm going to be post-Easter. No Post Malone.
This is AE after Easter. I wanted to ask you too, how's your diet going? Are you still on it?
I am. So
I was thinking yesterday, I was like, is Christian meal prepping today?
I did it on Saturday.
Wow.
I was cutting up avocados and sliced my finger.
Oh, evident. Look at this. Yeah. You brought receipts this morning, everybody.
So yesterday I bought some Peeps for my daughter because she wants some Peeps.
Yeah, I saw that.
Easter. And so I was giving them to her after breakfast in the morning, just a couple. I put a couple in the microwave, watched them blow up. It was fun. And I was holding one, debating about eating it. I was staring at it. I was this close.
It's talking to you.
it's like so I threw it away.
Wow.
I was like one peep isn't gonna hurt, and then I was like one peep will hurt.
Of all the cravings to give into, though, a peep.
I know.
Gross.
I know. So
gross. That's the worst.
We were out and about a lot yesterday, and we stopped at a grocery store and got a little egg salad. And it had a little bit of mayo in it. That was like probably the most cheating that I did this weekend.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Bought some bananas to go with it, some water, stuff like that. But yeah, I've been pretty good.
Pretty good. My funny little Easter story. So we put money in the Easter eggs for some of them. Uh-huh. So this was a tradition my in-laws kind of helped create, but so we got candy in them, got a little bit of money, and then there's some golden eggs that have they're like the jackpot eggs. So all these eggs are hidden, and my 4-year-old, you would think he's just having the time of his life. I mean, just sprinting, grabbing 5 eggs, running around, going crazy. The older kids are all ignoring all the small eggs. They're just trying to find the jackpot eggs, right? Because they're just being greedy. They don't want the candy. So they're looking for the golden eggs. What ends up happening is my 4-year-old just cleaned house. He found the jackpot egg. He got all of the smaller eggs. He made like over $100.
So does he understand the money concept of it at his age?
So that's the part I'm getting to. So I'm helping him count his money afterwards, and he's like, I'm drowning in money right now. and then he goes, and then he's like, I was like, what are you gonna buy with all your money? And he's like, I'm gonna buy a house. And I'm just like, I don't know if you have enough for a house here, but I like I'm like, who's gonna live? He's like, you can live in my house. I'll buy a house, you can live in it. But yeah, it was hilarious. It's just so funny to see that he got all this money.
That's funny. So he got the majority of the money, not the older kids. What was the deal with the older kids? Like with Rem, and your daughter? Like, yeah. What was the deal there? Like, were they just being lazy and not trying?
No. Well, they were trying to be like specific. They were trying to like go and find just the places where they thought these bigger eggs would be. And my youngest Fitz, he was just everything he could see. He was great. So he ends up with like majority of the candy, majority of the money. I mean, just literally one. I told him, I'm like, Easter's not a game you can win, but I think you won. I'm like, I think you won Easter today. Yeah. It was hilarious. I'm like, I'm going to open you a bank account, kid. This is crazy.
Yeah. Put it in a 3% high interest checking account, bank account, and let that puppy grow for the next 10 to 15 years.
They're going to retire on this Easter money one day, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. I wanted to start the show off a little bit with a story that I had today, but before I get into that, how much playoffs did you watch over the weekend? For those of you that aren't
Oh
aware,
my gosh.
NBA playoffs kicked off. The only game I watched about half of, I went back and watched the highlights of almost every game, though. Full highlights, like the 8 to 10 minute versions, so you get a pretty good idea. I watched about half last night of the Warriors Houston game.
That was
So
a good one.
that was a slugfest. But how much playoffs did you watch this weekend?
A lot. A lot of, and I texted you this, but it's just like it's not even comparable to the regular season's so hard to watch. Half these guys don't care. Like seeing defense in the first quarter is wild. It's like I think in that Golden State game, it was like 20. It was like 20-20 at the end of the first quarters, or 18. It was crazy.
Was like 85 to 95 final, something like that. Both teams under 100. I'm like, wow.
It's like the 90s all over again, dude.
I looked at the box score at the end of the game, and Houston shot 39% for the whole game, the whole team. And I'm like, damn, son. The Golden State shot 47%, under 50%. It's pretty routine. You see teams shoot over 50% these days. For the whole game. And so it was kind of fun to watch. I love playoff basketball. Like, it's my favorite thing in the whole world. And I feel like there's a couple series that are great. Like, I have my picks, by the way, who I think is going to go to the finals. I've been thinking about it, and I think I feel comfortable with my picks.
You're ready to lock in after seeing game one. You're ready to lock in.
Oklahoma City in the West. They're
Square.
so good. They're so good. Would they win by 50?
51, but you have a Memphis team that had to play 2 play-in games on the road.
Here's where I come down to. Every other team has major problems, and I don't see any problems with OKC. They have depth. They have, really good starting lineup.
I love this Golden State team. I think Jimmy Butler's like the GOAT of the postseason.
There's sure.
Something about that dude that just ignites whatever team he's on. He took the zombie Heat to the finals. Now he's got Steph. Yeah, he's got Steph Curry on his team now. Like, I don't know. My gut says it's going to be a rematch of, I want to say, the 2022. And I think we're going to see Golden State and the Celtics. That's kind of what I'm feeling like is going to happen.
I think they're too old. Jimmy's 35. Steph is 37.
No.
Draymond's 34. They're too old.
Draymond's got white in his beard.
They're too old. They're too old. Like,
you need old play. That's what happened to the Rockets, though.
They don't have any size. Too young. So look at the Rockets played a horrible game, and they didn't get blown out necessarily. It's because they had all this size. Imagine they play a better team with size. They're screwed.
I don't think so.
We'll see.
Dude, Jimmy will shoot 20 free throws a game, bro. He just drives into the paint and lets them hack him. I honestly think Oklahoma City will flounder a bit. They are really good. I think they'll blow out Memphis. They'll probably make it to the semis.
They'll probably sweep Memphis. Like, they're so good. Like, I just don't see another team. Like, Minnesota's worse than they were last year. Denver's worse than they were last year. Like, Denver's got Westbrook coming through in the clutch in the late. Like, I'm like, that's not going to hold. That's not going to hold. The Clippers will get injured. Kawhi will get injured. Right. Like, every team has these glaring issues. The Lakers look terrible in their first game. They look.
Oh my gosh, so bad. Seeing that honestly, if I had to pick like one highlight of the whole weekend of playoff basketball, it was Lakers are losing by 23 points. LeBron shoots a 3-pointer with like 3 minutes left. He gets fouled, and instead of getting back on defense, he's just walking next to the ref trying to argue why he thought was a. And I'm like, this game's already over. He's still sitting. And then Bronny comes in and Bronny's just bricking shot after shot in a meaningless game. I'm like, this is peak for me. This is great.
So I'll quickly wrap up the NBA stuff by saying in the East, I think Boston's going to come out of the East. I debated between them and Cleveland. I just feel like I don't think Donovan Mitchell can be your best player and you go to the finals. I just don't think
he looks pretty good. I know you have some history
with
him. I know there's some history between you and him. So
he always looks good.
He looks really good last night.
He always looks really good in the first round or two. I don't see it.
Last question really fast here. Who's the player you hate the most that's in the playoffs that drives you insane when you see them?
I don't think I have one. I really don't get fired up about players. I really don't.
For me, it's Derek White. I can't stand White.
Derek White? Why?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that dude. I just can't stand. Every time he scores,
ultimate role player. He's like the ultimate role player.
I just feel like I'm like, how is this dude a starting NBA player? I'm like, someone else should be on this roster.
He was on Team USA. He was.
I know. I don't get it. How does
two-way player?
I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it, dude. He drives me crazy.
He's a stud. He had 30 in game one or something like that.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
And I don't really have one, and I used to be like, oh, I hate this guy. Ooh, I don't have that reaction.
It's Westbrook. Anymore. It's Westbrook for you now.
No, it's not. I don't hate Westbrook. I just know what to expect with Westbrook. He's gonna did you see they were not even guarding him? He's wide open every possession. Yeah. That's what I would do if I was the Clippers.
Le Brick.
I'd be like, make him beat us. Yeah. Make him beat us.
Yeah.
Okay, let me transition into my story a little bit before we lose the whole audience.
Yes.
So I've had a thought lately, going into grocery stores, because I've been doing that more lately because of my food prep. I need more food around the house. So I've been doing that a little bit the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Every grocery store I go into, I notice there's less and less cashiers, but there's still some cashiers, right? There's all these automated cashiers. And it's interesting to me to see the people that clearly just don't give a shit. They're just like, am I done with my shift yet? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I thought about how much insurance agents fear being made obsolete. And then I think about all these useless roles that people still have that are on the brink of being made obsolete. I went through the car wash this morning on my way here. And I go, it's pretty automated. I go through the car wash, it automatically scans my plates, opens the thing, lets me through because I'm a member. There's a guy that's always sitting at the tunnel, the front of the tunnel, be
right. And he he'll spray it down, or does a little spray down.
So I pull up. There's a dude with Beats headphones on, sitting down in the corner, doing this. And I sit there for, I swear, 2 or 3 minutes waiting for him to look up. I'm like, should I just go in on my own? I'm like, what should I do here? And then finally he looks up. He goes, oh! And I think to myself, how many jobs there are out there where people are on the brink of being completely replaced and their jobs disappearing, and they don't care, and they don't even probably realize it. They don't even understand what's coming. Do you see that in your own life, your own day-to-day life? I feel like I see it everywhere the more I think about it. And it makes me think, if there's a tier list of jobs or careers or going away, if insurance, people are worried about insurance agents or salespeople, think about all these, like a cashier, 75% of the time I go to the store, I'm my own cashier. I don't need you. I don't need you. Sometimes it's nice for you to check my produce for me because I'm so slow adult and I can't find that thing. But I think about that. It's kind of wild to think about all and I look around and I notice and I'm like, I can just tell that some of these people just don't give a damn about their job, and they don't have the I guess the mentality at all to make myself valuable. How can I make myself valuable in my role
Yeah.
to prevent my job from going away? There's not much of that.
I think sales is going to be one of the last things that an AI can truly replace. If you really think about it, I mean, I've been thinking a lot about that conversation we had the other day on the podcast where I really do feel like the upcoming generation has kind of lost it. I think the older generation, because social interaction was so much more face to face, I think sales was an easier transition for a lot of people in the older generation, like my father, as an example. I mean, he got into sales, but it was more of like this corporate ladder, like kind of a natural transition into it. He didn't like jump straight into sales from the beginning of his career. And so as a salesperson, which, some of you might listen to this and not consider yourself a salesperson, but the reality is we're all salespeople. Even if you're selling exclusively Medicare Advantage $0 premium plans, you're still selling the senior on working with you as an agent. Like there's still salesmanship that has to take place. So I do feel like it would take something like AGI. It would take some massive type of breakthrough where artificial intelligence has reached the level of being able to be sentient, essentially, before salespeople are all of a sudden eliminated completely from the map. I do feel that way for sure. And there are a lot of people that are probably on the brink of being eliminated or replaced that don't realize it. And maybe they don't even care. Maybe they have that type of mentality.
There is a lot of that. And I don't see it just from the younger generation. Certainly I see a lot of that, but I see it from people that hold these jobs that like are our age, maybe even a generation above us at times. And it's just kind of wild to me. Like I would think to myself, this is just my mentality, that if I was holding a job like that, I would and I feel like in any job that you do, you might not have a permanent history with that job or a permanent future with that job if it is to disappear like that. But I think you can expand it by making yourself valuable, by trying to make yourself valuable, by like, if you're a cashier, you're such a good cashier, you're so friendly, you're so personable, you make people feel good going through your line, that people choose to go through your line, the regular, as opposed to going through the self-checkout, right? Like that would, for me, I'd be looking at it like a survival kind of mentality a little bit. And I don't see that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of interesting to me. And it's funny to me to see insurance agents, some of the doom and gloom ones out there, chicken littles, as you call them, to really be worried about that. They're really worried. Some of them are really worried about that.
Very, very worried.
But you still have people holding jobs like I just described out there. Like the guy that's supposed to, your whole job is to guide me into the tunnel. That's the only job you have. And then when I show up, you make me wait 2 or 3 minutes because you can't be bothered because you're scrolling. Like, is that guy's job on the chopping block of being replaced by like a computer monitor that says, please go left, please go right, please go forward? Probably.
So there's a story I've been wanting to share on the pod, and I think this is a great tie-in based on what you're talking about right here. So I used to work with a gentleman. He came from an immigrant family, and he viewed, especially from the sales perspective, he viewed everything as a golden opportunity. It didn't matter how small or simple something was. Everything was an opportunity to advance himself, to make a sale, and this was when I was working at Verizon. And so, someone could come in with their phone's not working. It's a support issue. It's a service issue. And
Right.
Here in the insurance world, we deal with this all the time, right? I mean, how many times are you being contacted by a client and maybe they're reaching out because, they just need to get a replacement card, right? They lost their insurance ID card. They need a replacement card, and they have no intentions of talking to you about any other, type of policy, hospital indemnity or anything else. that obviously you could look at that as, oh, geez, I have to talk to my client. I have to get them a replacement ID card. Or you could have that same type of mentality where it's like this golden opportunity where I'm going to try to make this a winning situation. Maybe I can get a review from this client and they would submit a review. So, that's something that would be super beneficial to me. Maybe I can talk to them about a different type of policy. Maybe I'm just going to make sure I provide the absolute best service possible. So they're going to give me a referral. Maybe I'll actually ask for referrals. Like it comes down to almost this mindset. And I just feel like it's such a winning mindset when you take that approach where it's like, I don't care how small this is, I'm going to go all in and try to really make this a home run. I don't feel like you see that from a lot of people,
You don't, especially in these probably first on the docket replaceable jobs. You're already seeing it being moving in that direction, right? Like you think about a grocery store cashier lanes 10 years ago, there was probably 3 times as many of them in any given store and only a couple self-checkouts. Now it's like there's the majority self-checkouts and only a couple like person manned lanes. And if I was a cashier, I'd be like, oh crap, the writing's on the wall. How can I make myself valuable? How can I make myself irreplaceable, right? So like, even if they move away with this position, maybe there's still a place for me with this company, right? Like, but you don't see that from some people, but like the vast majority, you don't see that. It's like you go through like
they could though.
Beep, beep.
And
I'm just like, I'm like waiting for the interaction. I'm like, and they're
want
like,
to talk to me?
and then a little bit goes by, and then I'll be like, hi. And they'll be like, they don't even talk. They just grunt. I'm like, ah, yes. How is your day going? And I'm just like, oh. And I'm like, I'm trying to.
Tell me more.
It's like I'm working and they're my customer, like with the level of effort I'm giving versus them, it's just kind of wild to me.
They could though. This is a great point though. It's like they could try to go a step above, right? And we talked about this in our company at ESI, how our own team members, how some of them do this and how much it means something to us when we see people taking that extra step when they don't necessarily have to. And that's the difference. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a grocery store clerk. It doesn't matter,
no matter what job you're doing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You could be doing any. It could have been the car wash guy this morning, right?
That was a new low. That was bad.
He could have come up and knocked on your window and just like chatted with you for a minute. Hey, how's it going?
Ready for me?
Yeah, right. Well, that's being ready for you. I think that's the baseline. But like, you could also take it a step further, right? Hey, how's it going? Are you enjoying the car wash? Here's some referral cards if you know anyone else who needs help. Something simple like that, like
or anything would have been better than what I got. I think the lesson for agents, to kind of wrap this up for me, is like there's 2 things I think that pop into my mind is when those jobs still exist, you have a long way to go before your job disappears. I don't see how you can look at it any other way in our society. And number 2, a lesson can be taken from that. Don't be that person as an agent. Like, what are you doing to make yourself, irreplaceable with your clients, with everybody that you do business with? I think that type of mentality has taken a lot of businesses very far, a lot of entrepreneurs very far, and I think it's just as important, if not more important, today than ever because it's becoming more and more rare. Everywhere I go, at restaurant, grocery store, car wash, the norm is that I get the, or the,
that one.
Like, it's usually that type of thing. So like when you actually provide a good customer experience,
Yeah.
it stands out 10 times more than it did decades ago.
100%.
Because
Totally
it's like,
agree.
wow, it's like you didn't just grunt at me. You actually
Yeah.
said, hello, your good morning. Like, this is wild. I like this company. I like this
Yeah.
guy or gal, Anyway, I just something I was thinking about, and I was like, I think
I
this
love
is
this.
relevant.
Yeah, I love this topic. And I think there is a lot of like little things that get like just smiling, right? Smiling, putting on a happy external uh, energy, like mid presentation. If you walk into a house on a sales appointment, right? You're trying to sell Medicare, you're trying to sell insurance, and you're like bummed out, you're doom and gloom, you're frowning. Like, why would someone want to work with you? That doesn't
Mhm.
track for me.
For
Like
sure.
it's really, sometimes it's the simple things that a lot of you are missing on, and I've gone through that myself as an agent. So yeah, I think this is very topical. I love this.
Let's shift gears into the sponsor, because I know the people want to hear about um, this main story, HHS ending ship funding potentially. Um, this episode is brought to you guys by the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit. In our opinion, the number one event that you can possibly go to as a Medicare agent in 2025. Salt Lake City, June 23rd, 24th, 22nd being the arrival day, at the Hilton Hotel, the beautiful new Hilton Hotel. If you have ever wanted to level up in your business and not be sold to get into the room just to be sold to get into a different room or upsold or anything like that, you actually want to be taught. You actually want to be shown what you can do better in your business from a structural standpoint, from an operations standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from a sales standpoint. You're going to get it all at the summit this year. Make sure you get your tickets. They are 30% off until the end of this month in April. 30% off, $350 per ticket. We have less than 100 remaining. Make sure to get your tickets while you can. sevenfiguremedicareagentsummit.com.
Link will be in the comments of this live stream. Sponsorship opportunities still available to the end of this month as well.
Yes.
If anyone is looking at how can you get your brand in front of more agents this year, this is a great opportunity with hundreds of agents and vendors and speakers all right there who will be able to interface with your brand, your company. So definitely don't sleep on it.
Yes. Okay, let's shift gears into the main topic. Starting off, I'm sure you saw this. Dr. Oz being sworn in
Yes.
officially.
Yes.
With Trump, RFK Jr. was there. Oz gave a little bit of a speech. This isn't our main topic, but I think it does tie nicely in. Did you hear his speech by chance? Oz's speech?
I did not hear his speech.
I saw some chatter online from agents, a little concerned because he made a comment about crushing fraud, waste, and abuse. He said CMS will crush fraud, waste, and abuse.
That's nothing to do with us. And
Right,
if you're concerned about that, then maybe you are the
are
fraud,
you
waste, and abuse.
committing fraud,
Yeah,
waste, and abuse? But
are
found
you
that kind of
committing
interesting.
fraud?
He has now a Dr. Oz CMS exclusive Instagram account I'm following. Very interesting.
Oh, okay.
Highly recommend everybody go follow that if you're on Insta.
The latest and greatest, the first news coming out. I saw a bunch of stuff from RFK, but it's not really applicable to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw. Did you see all that?
No, I didn't see that much relating to CMS or Oz or anything.
It doesn't, and this isn't the time or place. But anyways,
okay.
Continue.
I'd love to hear it another time.
Yeah, that's an offline topic.
Okay, so article comes out last week, leaked across multiple different social media platforms, titled
With hundreds of insurance agents and agency owners at the event, this could not be a better opportunity to spotlight your business. If you're looking for a sponsorship opportunity and where to spend your sponsorship dollars this year, the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit is the spot to do it. You can have your own booth.
You can network with agents. This is the 4th annual summit, so there's going to be a lot of agents there and a lot of agents who are looking for help from vendors for leads, educational vendors. You could have a software tool. There's so many great vendors that we've had in the past, and we're looking at a lot of great opportunities for businesses to sponsor at the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit. So if you are looking for a sponsorship opportunity, make sure to check out sevenfiguresmedicareagentsummit.com.
Get your tickets today while they're still available and reach out about sponsorship opportunities. We'd love to have you involved with the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit in 2025. Now back to the show.
Together. And I feel like that's what SHIP really was, is like CMS trying to say, hey, you know, we need more people to help seniors. But it didn't seem like this was the best solution for it. You know, based on experiences that I've had with other agents and talking, you know, and not to say that it was all bad. There's probably some good that came out of SHIP too, but you know, when you have people sharing information that might not be 100% accurate, and then all of a sudden you have this, it was like almost like this weird third party that got into the mix, in my opinion. You know, so
yeah,
I'm not sad about this. I'm not sad about this.
I have a ton, gobs and gobs of thoughts about this.
Yes.
But before I get into that, let's go through the article a little bit, and then I'll give some of my reactions. Okay. This comes out April 18th, so 3 days ago, by Charlene. Is that right? Cheryl. It's Monday. I can't read. Cheryl Clark. Shout out to her being the author. Okay, so it starts off by saying the leaked pre-decisional HHS budget for the fiscal year 2026 would eliminate some $55 million in discretionary funding for the state health insurance assistance programs, aka SHIP, whose counselors help seniors navigate and understand their incredibly complex array of Medicare plan choices. That, of course, does not necessarily mean that federal money for the SHIP program will stop. The 64-page budget document circulating this week, dated April 10th, is just a draft, and the final budget must be approved by Congress. So nothing is official on this. It's just kind of something that's being discussed from the sounds of it. But several SHIP counselors contacted Thursday said they were astonished that the administration would even think about defunding the 35-year-old program.
How could you?
Which often is the only source of independent, unbiased information beneficiaries have when deciding on a Medicare plan. Give me a fucking break when I read that. Okay, I'll circle back, but in another part of the proposed HHS budget on page 40, there is a line item for the SHIP program for $15 million, which is an amount mandated by a congressional action that could be enough to keep the program running during the first quarter of the fiscal year for the annual Medicare enrollment period, which will run between October 15th and December 7th of this year. But that $15 million would be far short of the $55 million it was slated to receive in discretionary funding. Melissa Simpson, I'll kind of wrap up after this, and we can kind of talk about it. Melissa Simpson, Associate Director of the Office of Healthcare Information and Counseling, which oversees the SHIP program, told MedPage Today on Tuesday, before the budget document was leaked, that SHIP was level funded in the continuing resolution at $55 million, continue their important work. Let me see if there's any other important thing. SHIP programs have been under the umbrella of HHS Agency Administration for Community Living, ACL. The budget eliminates several programs that existed within ACL, but allows states to use grant funding they receive from funded formula giant programs to provide or invest in services provided by programs that the budget eliminates, it said. So that's, SHIP goes by different names in different states, blah, blah, blah.
So right there, I have a question though. So it says right there on that line, its counselors, a mix of 12,500 trained volunteers and paid staff. I was under the impression that SHIP was mostly unpaid workers. Is it not?
It is. Them saying there's paid staff, like that's the people that probably manage certain things. But the vast majority of them are made up, from my experience, of unlicensed volunteers.
So where's the 55 million going? That's a pretty big number for a workforce. For a workforce of free labor. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me to hear. I would have never, I would have been like, sure, there's administration costs, like you're managing, maybe you're getting resources out to some of these people, you're doing trainings, right? Like, I'm sure there's costs. I'm not saying there should be no cost to a program like this, but yeah, that seems like a wildly inflated number,
Like most things that are funded by the government, I would be willing to bet that there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse and shit.
Hands in the cookie jar, baby. Yeah.
This noble program, right? How could they? According to a 2023 SHIP report to Congress, they spend an average of 35 minutes one-on-one with each beneficiary. That is disgusting. Like, that is not enough time. Does anyone think that's enough time to give? If you are trying to give unbiased information.
This is a T65 presentation, essentially, is what they're saying here, right? I mean,
I talk often about my actual presentation. It needs to be 15 to 20 minutes. But the entire appointment, especially for a SHIP worker, it should be longer than that, to check doctors, to check prescriptions, you know what I mean? Like, that's on average so what are they leaving out? God only knows. Okay. Anyway, I think you guys. Okay, this is kind of
their usefulness is so valued.
CMS wrote
is that the
rule
you're looking at?
Yeah. So we'll cover this part and then we'll kind of react. Yeah. I know I want to cover these two lines actually, and then Okay. Their usefulness is so valued, CMS wrote into a final rule, as we all know now, in April 2023, that third-party marketing organizations, that is, agents selling health plans, had to mention the option for beneficiaries to contact Medicare.gov, 1-800-MEDICARE, or your state health insurance program to get information on all your options. That was necessary, CMS reasoned, because of concerns that health insurance plan brokers had not always been honest with their clients about which plans they represent or the possible ramifications of choices they may make for their future health coverage. Many brokers have been financially incentivized to steer beneficiaries into one plan or another based on higher commissions. The CMS rule called the SHIP program a neutral agency, created in 1990, by the way. Okay, let's dive into this. Let's tear this thing apart. So
let's do it.
All right. So before I go on my tangent, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's almost like, what's the point of the agent almost at that point? It's like, if you truly think that this group of unpaid volunteer workers is the solution, or that they can provide Medicare beneficiaries with accurate information, why do agents even exist? Why are we being put through all of these hoops that we have to jump through? We have to go through, CE. We have to go through, HIPAA. We have to go through AHIP. We're going through certs with the carriers every year. Like, the amount of red tape that the average Medicare agent has to go through just to be able to offer plans, all these disclaimers like they referenced in the article, like, and then to still take the extra jab there that agents are misrepresenting health plans and are just financially incentivized. Yeah, you know what? We are financially incentivized, but at the same time, what we're already putting all of this, we're going through all this red tape so we can do this compliantly. It's almost like they still don't trust us. Like despite having to jump through all these hoops, like having a clean record, doing all of the things right, and it's still like, you know what? We still want you to send everyone to SHIP just to make sure you're not lying. I don't know. It's absurd. It's absurd, but I'm gonna put my seatbelt. Hang on a second. Let me put my seatbelt on. Okay.
So, man, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I have always looked at the SHIP program, as long as I've been doing this, as a joke. Because, like we've covered, it is vastly made up of unlicensed volunteers who are spending 35 minutes on average with appointments. Anytime, and I will be honest to say that I have not seen a ton of situations where I have seen a beneficiary that was advised by SHIP. I haven't seen a lot of those situations. It is a small percentage, but I can honestly say I've never seen a circumstance where someone was advised by one where they were given good advice on their situation. Usually we have to fix the mess that was made. Similar to these massive publicly traded call centers. The advice was pretty much the same that the Jimmy J.J. Walker call centers would give. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Put in plans that don't cover your doctor. Put in plans that aren't strong in this, strong in that. And I feel like for the vast majority of people that probably are a part of SHIP, volunteer for SHIP, I think they probably have good intentions. I think they have propaganda shoved down their throat about how evil and bad agents are, because it's no secret SHIP workers and SHIP as a whole does not like agents. They look down on agents. They feel like agents are the problem. I know this. But so that's like their world. It's their propaganda. It's in their bubble, right? So that's their belief for the most part, from my experience. But they do more harm than they do good, because how can you give accurate advice if you're an unlicensed volunteer? I've said this forever. And so the fact that I feel like, at the very least, the reason why this is being discussed is they're finally acknowledging that this program is a failure and has been for decades. It's a waste of government money. Get Doge on the scene. Doesn't help anybody. And it's just an atrocity. And the fact that they, for the last couple of years, have been trying to get agents to put it in our disclaimers, put it on our websites, put it in our email signatures, shows that they thought that they could control the whole situation better by sending things to SHIP. But the fact of the matter is, a Medicare beneficiary, in my opinion, is going to be far better taken care of and in better hands with your average licensed local field agent broker than they will with a SHIP worker. They'll get better advice. They'll get put on a better plan for them. And they'll get better long-term service.
It almost defies capitalism if you really think about it, right? Capitalism is designed where you're rewarded financially. You have some type of compensation, monetary compensation, by contributing to the economy. So it's like, why would you're like going against the foundation of the United States of America by having a volunteer worker step into this role and say, I don't need to get paid, but I'm going to give you the best advice to sign up for the best plan. It feels anti-American, to really go out on a ledge here. Like, it just doesn't fit into the whole picture for me. I don't get it.
The fact of the matter is, unlicensed, not even close to as trained or knowledgeable as a broker,
right?
Not qualified. That's been my take forever. And I love to see this. This is great. This is the right thing, in my opinion. I think their funding should be $1.
$1, Bob.
$1. And
it sounds like it's going to get minimized, though. This isn't necessarily like a full wipeout that we're reading about.
It sounds like this is a defunding situation, not a canceling situation.
Right.
But I think that's good. I think
for sure.
Any step in that direction, I'm supportive of. And I think it's just the biasedness from a negative perspective against agents. I think it's just this, nose up in the air. Oh, look at us. Well, we care about the Medicare beneficiaries. But I cannot stress this enough. An unlicensed, poorly trained volunteer is not qualified to give advice like this. That's why they do it. That's why they get it wrong so much.
I don't know if you remember this story, but there was actually a couple of ship workers who came to the summit. I think it was 2 years ago.
I don't remember this. Where was I?
Yeah, well, this was when I got invited upstairs and you weren't there. You remember this?
Oh yeah, the secret meeting.
Yes,
to discuss me, if I remember right.
To discuss the takedown of Christian Brindle. This was pre-merger.
Maybe part of the meeting, right? That was so funny to me that they invited you.
So I get in the room.
Let's talk about
I'm in the room. So I get in the room, and at this point in time, I'm not really familiar with ship at all. Like ship, I'm thinking, what ocean are we sailing? Like I'm not I'm not familiar with ship really. So, but there's a couple of agents, and they had just jumped ship from ship, no pun intended, and they were becoming licensed brokers. And what blew my mind from talking to them, and they reaffirmed a lot of what you just said. So this is, I'm hearing this from the horse's mouth at this point in time as, not getting enough information. They didn't feel like they could really do their job properly, was kind of the takeaway. Like they felt like they were only giving a small piece of the overall picture when they were working with these beneficiaries, but they were volunteer workers. They were unpaid. And they had been doing it. Here's the part that I died inside is they had been doing it for like 15 or 20 years. They'd been doing it for a really long time. So, and then they were basically like, why not do it right and get paid? Was kind of the takeaway. It was kind of the takeaway. And
absolutely.
It was mind blowing to hear that firsthand. And again, at the time, I'm just like, I didn't even know there were volunteer people doing this. I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm all in favor. I also feel like this could be coming from our man back here. This I feel like Mehmet, you've got your little hands all over this one. This feels like a Dr. Oz special to me. It's such
a pivot from where CMS has been, especially in recent years, that it wouldn't surprise me. Like, think about this previous CMS leadership. What were they doing? They were trying to increase funding for SHIP. They were trying to push Medicare beneficiaries to SHIP away from brokers. And then all of a sudden they're cutting their funding. It's being discussed cutting their funding by 75% or so. Like that's like a 180, in a lot of different ways. So it very well could be. You mentioned something that I thought was interesting too. Like it's so anti-capitalistic. And
yes.
It really is, because the fear is that seniors will not be taken care of. They won't be put on the right plan, et cetera, right? You look at some of these companies that didn't prioritize customer experience, these massive call centers, the ones that were doing the scammy advertising and all this stuff, the Select Quotes of the world, the Go Health of the world. And what happened to their stocks? Right. And like their companies, they became penny stocks. Like they just got slaughtered. Their retention was like 30%. That is capitalism. That is, the market will punish you if you don't
Yes.
take care of your client. And that's what they should just let play out. If someone's committing real fraud, waste, and abuse, yeah, absolutely. Step in, do something. But like, doing
Maybe Ship was the fraud, waste, and abuse.
maybe when he's talking about crushing fraud, waste, and abuse, he's like 55 million.
I could buy my second yacht with this money. What are you guys doing?
Well, yeah, I think I love to see this type of communication come out, though. I think it's good for the client. I think it's good
For
for
sure.
the industry. I think it's good for everybody. I don't think Ship serves any positive purpose. And when I see comments saying like, they might be the only viable option for certain beneficiaries, that's horseshit. I'm sorry. There is no state, no place in the country where you're not going to have access to a extremely qualified insurance agency or agent.
Yeah.
Anyone in the country can call our office and get great support.
Yeah. There's so many
Anybody.
nationally licensed agencies like ours.
Like, to make that argument, they don't have access to good help, unbiased help is the way they say it. Like, would you rather have a better trained, licensed, highly regulated, certified individual that carries 90% of their choices, or an unlicensed, untrained, unqualified volunteer providing 100% of their choices? Like, to me, it's not even a conversation, right? It's not even a question. But no, I was thrilled to see this. It was the sun shined a little bit brighter, and I'm hopeful they could have been more than that.
Yeah. and obviously it could be trending in that direction. And sometimes in situations like this, I think trying to get Ship abolished would probably be a lot harder than just defunding it, right?
Sure. But it's the step. It's a step.
And another thing to keep in mind as we're wrapping up here, you guys, is this is all essentially just a proposal at this point.
Sure.
It hasn't even passed yet. So there is part of me that, a little piece of me that's concerned that this somehow doesn't get passed. And, they're like, how could you defund Ship? And this becomes like a congressional debate, and the Democrats try to die on the hill of, you're taking away the freedom of choice from our Medicare beneficiaries by defunding Ship.
Here's how you fix the problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You tell every Medicare Advantage company and PDP company that if you're going to offer a product, you have to pay commissions.
Yeah.
And allow agents to contract.
100%.
Like, that would solve that problem 99%, in my opinion, because you have certain carriers that they're captive only. You have certain, like, regional carriers mostly. You have carriers like WellCare that don't pay commissions on PDPs. That furthers the unbiased information problem that they're so concerned about. So don't allow carriers to do that. Tell them that if you're going to be in the Medicare market, you have to open up to agents, to independent agents.
I also wonder if this is going to lead to some of the disclaimer languages getting rolled back too. If the funding gets cut like this and Ship shrinks significantly going into next year, maybe next year's final rule involves, getting rid of some of this bloated red tape, like the disclaimers, trying to get us to send people to Ship. That would be excellent.
My prediction since the election was done, and I've been consistent about this, is I think we'll see that over time. I think we'll see red tape pulled back. I just, and there's certain people that they're like, we're going to see more. Or, Dr. Oz is going to cut. He's going to go after fraud, waste, and abuse. Here, watch out. Whoa, here it comes. Like,
all agents have been terminated by Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz's Dr. Oz is the Terminator. Just you've been terminated.
Fuck you, asshole. I watched that the other day. I feel like every time we bring that up, it's like I just watched it for like the first time in a year or two.
Sure. You don't watch it every week. Okay.
Calculated response.
Yeah.
Fuck you, asshole. Oh my goodness. Let's move into final thoughts on today's episode. Why don't you start us off with your final thoughts, good sir?
Yeah. Final thoughts to you guys on specifically the possible shit defunding that we were reading about here on the main topic of today's episode. I think this is a great thing. I think this is the type of thing that we've essentially been speculating on from the beginning with the change in the administration and with Mr. Mehmet Dr. Oz coming in. Dr. Mehmet Oz. What would you prefer to go? Oh, just Mehmet? We're on first name basis. I forgot. I think this to me has his fingerprints on it. I have a feeling that behind the scenes, he's probably, and again, I think this is the big change takes time. It's a slow moving ship, you guys. So,
No
God. As much as we'd love for Dr. Oz to officially get sworn in and he's officially doing his job and he pulls out, his machete and he's just hacking and changing, and it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. It's going to be a slow change. I am super optimistic that we'll see more change over the next 12 months, though, just like this. And from the congressional level, with the House and the Senate and the White House all lined up right now, we shouldn't really have any issues passing stuff like defunding SHIP. This should just literally be like a rocket. It should literally get written and signed and done. So this just contributes to my optimism, more than anything. But those are my final thoughts, Mr. Brindle. Final thoughts on today's episode.
Yeah, I mean, for everyone listening, I'm tickled pink by this news. It's great. It's like I would not be more cheery on Christmas Day. If this actually happened, forget about it. There's some new level of enthusiasm that there would be that hasn't been quantified or put on a scale as of yet. But yeah, I mean, I think of course, nobody really knows for sure what the direction of CMS will be, but I think what we have seen, especially in the last 30 days, has been really promising and has appeared to be relatively broker friendly. And that's all we've ever asked for, in my opinion. I think we came out of kind of like a dark tunnel, if you will, the past 4 years or so, 5 years.
The dark ages.
The dark ages, yeah. When they write about the history of the Medicare distribution business, they will talk about the dark years, and it will be the Biden-Harris administration.
Were you around when Shaquita was in charge?
The Shaquita years. Yeah. I should do a YouTube documentary about her.
The Shaquita years.
I might do that, actually. Leave a comment if you want to see a YouTube documentary about Shaquita Brooks LaShore, our now ex-CMS admin. Make it 2 hours long. Let us know. Let me know if there's enough enthusiasm for that. I'll see what I can do. Write a book about her. Take this transcript of the YouTube video. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we'll keep reporting on this as we go, as more information comes out. But yeah, very interesting and extremely big pivot on CMS's part, because I never thought we'd see them even entertaining cutting the funding for SHIP, especially in that such a large way. So this is interesting. We'll definitely keep a close eye on this and keep you posted in any details that we become aware of. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Happy Monday. This is episode 89. If you enjoy the show, we certainly appreciate you subscribing to the YouTube channel, commenting and liking if you're watching the show on the YouTube channel. Getting close to 100 subscribers. Only like a month or so we've had that channel too, so we're happy about that.
The Mark Andrews episode.
Oh, who is that?
Tight end for the Ravens. Come on, Andrews, isn't it? Mark Andrews. Did I make that up? Is that made up?
I don't know.
You're making me second guess myself. No, 89. Book it. Book
89.
it.
Make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you're listening on the audio-only platform. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Here's to your massive success. We'll see you on the next one.
Happy selling.